Artistforum.com presents a live interview with Mr. Gary Wright, the Dreamweaver. Mr. Wright's music has been featured in Wayne's World, Staying Alive, Fire and Ice, and The People vs. Larry Flint. He has worked with such notable musical dignitaries as Eric Clapton, Bill Collins, Hall & Oates, and George Harrison. And now Peter Maizitis' live interview with the Dreamweaver, Mr. Gary Wright. Peter?
Gary, welcome to Artistforum.com. What started your interest in music? Your bio indicates you studied postgraduate psychology in Germany. Are you applying any of your studies in your music projects?
Well, that's hard to say because when you get when you study, it always integrates itself throughout your life and all the things you do. I can't say consciously I do, but who knows, how the effects of my having studied psychology have filtered themselves down into my music. But in answer to your question, how I got started, I was, as a child, I was on Broadway in a play called Fanny, and that's how I really kind of got first started. That was like a big hit musical, and I was only 11 years old at the time, and that really kind of sparked my musical career.
Who has been the biggest influence on your music?
I can't really say one particular person has. I mean, there's been several that I liked. My influences were really a lot of black artists. The early days of soul music, like James Brown and Ray Charles, and then later on, when I went over to England, Steve Winwood and Traffic, and later on after that, Peter Gabriel. Those have been really my major influences.
You were originally with the group Spooky Tooth, actually one of the founders. What motivated you to leave the group, and do you still keep in contact with any of the members?
I was motivated to leave the group as a result of just having been frustrated and wanting to do more of my own stuff, just like every guy who's been in a band eventually goes off and does his own solo career. I had a lot of music that I wanted to do, and I had a real need to express it, so I left the band and did some solo albums. And yes, I am in contact with the guys in the band. I speak to them every so often. They still from time to time go in and do records. But yes, I do speak to them every now and then. They're still around. They're not doing a lot of music, but they do a fairly once every few years they'll make an album.
I was reading your bio. You went to India with George Harrison. What life experiences did you get out of that trip?
George turned me on to my guru, Paramahansa Yogananda. When I was there, or actually before I went, he gave me a book called Autobiography of a Yogi, and George was very much, at the time, and still is into Eastern philosophy. And it was an amazing spiritual experience going over there and being in the places where my guru was, and at the time I wasn't quite into the teaching yet, but he had kind of planted the seed in me, and we got to meet a lot of very spiritual people over there. We were Ravi Shankar's guests. It was an amazing experience that I'll never forget.
What inspired you to write and perform The Dreamweaver?
I found the song actually from a poem that Paramahansa Yogananda had written called God, 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 and one of the lines in the poems were, "When at night my mind weaves dreams," and I had my little journal out, and I thought, "Weaves dreams, Dreamweaver," and I wrote it down as a song title. And several months later, I was in the English countryside. I was living in England at the time. I was just writing a song, and I opened my journal and saw that title and decided to write the song, and I wrote it in about 40 minutes or an hour.
What does the song actually mean?
Dreamweaver actually is a song about consciousness of God and the universe.
Okay.
And this aspect of, weaving dreams, spinning the cosmos. And it's a song about how God takes us over the humps, the valleys in life, and through those dark moments too. Dreamweaver, I believe you can get me through the night. It's really that kind of a song about being carried through the night of existence that is higher consciousness.
You've worked with some musical heavies in the business. You supported some big artists, Eric Clapton, Phil Collins, Hall & Oates, and George Harrison.
Yes, I did work with Eric on when I've worked on most of George Harrison's albums. He's been on a lot of them. The notable one was All Things Must Pass, that album that I played on. I played keyboards with him, and basically the rhythm section was Eric, myself, George Harrison, Ringo Starr on drums, Carl Radel on bass, and some sessions Jim Keltner and Jim Gordon were on drums.
You worked with George Harrison on First Signs of Life. What was the inspiration behind that music?
First Signs of Life was an album that I had recorded in Brazil. I recorded all the percussion tracks, and when I got back to the States, I decided to put... I had always loved African music. And so what I did was when I recorded the percussion tracks in Brazil, I came back to the States and decided, well, I was thinking about what could I do, and then I decided to put some African vocals and singing on it, and I got together with a guy named Ayo Ademi, who was a Nigerian master drummer, and asked him to certain lyrics, certain phrases in Nigerian language, and he gave me the, how do you say this, how do you say this, and he translated the stuff for me, so then I created the songs that way. And that was the inspiration really behind it. I've always wanted to do an African kind of Brazilian album, and that was the vehicle through which I could do it.
Now you have a new CD out. I believe it's the latest one is Human Love. What is the inspiration behind Human Love?
Human Love, I mean, the inspiration behind the entire album, it's really a concept album in so much as that it's an album that deals with relationships. A lot of the songs are about relationships and about, the struggle between human love, divine love, and the relationships we have with human beings, with one another, and the relationship we have with the divine. And again, this is something that this album evolved over about 5 to 7 years of different songs that I wrote. And so all my lyrics really, a lot of them you could sing them either to the higher consciousness of God, or you could sing them to, your beloved, your woman, or whoever that is in your life. I try to write my lyrics so that they have like a dual meaning, a broad meaning. So I think that kind of captures it. I mean, Flame in the Snow, that track is that kind of struggle between the human and the divine, and Human Love is as well. So it's really that kind of lyrical issue that talks about that. So it's really a pop rock album with world music influence. I mean, Peter Gabriel blends world music sounds and a lot of his stuff. I look at my music as like going to a spice rack, picking out different ingredients. If I want to use a little bit of Indian flavor, I'll do that. If I want a little African flavor, I'll do that, depending on the song.
You've been on several record labels, including Island Records and Warner Brothers. What caused you to switch labels, and what label are you with now?
Well, switching labels is just something that happens in the music business. Every artist goes through that. You're with a label until they start losing enthusiasm, and then you switch, and you just keep doing that. I actually have my own label right now. Human Love's on my own label, which is called Larkaio Records, L-A-R-K-I-O.
I was just reading about it. You just founded that just recently. You have you have a board of advisors. Looks like a who's who here. Graham Nash, Peter Frampton, Sammy Hagar, and Tommy Shaw. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this new direction you're taking and what the site is all about?
The site's not up yet, but it will be up soon. A combination of music and humor. And basically, I wanted to create an entity that would be a kind of an asylum, a vehicle through which artists could express their art, their music, without having to go through the vehicle of major record labels, because it's so hard now for artists to get deals on major labels. And what we wanted to do was create this kind of entity so an artist would be able to come and express their music and, have an audience that would be willing to hear them. What's unique about our site, I think, is that it really is not going to be like it's not going to be for all music like MP3. You just go there and you just find thousands and thousands of files. This is really going to be high quality stuff that we believe that really is great, unusual kind of stuff. So the website's really going to have a qualitative kind of look and feel to it. When people go there, they're going to say, wow, this is really great music. That's my goal, is just to create a site that has really terrific music that will be highly highly entertaining, and people going to want to make people come back. And it's going to be very, very musician-friendly in so much as that we'll have chat rooms where newcomers will be able to ask questions to, managers, industry professionals, all that kind of thing. We'll be able to provide a lot of services as far as, for if you're a new artist and you want to get started and, different things that you should know about business, all sorts of things like that.
See, are you planning on a big tour in the near future?
I'm starting to tour right now. I'm going out this summer. I'm doing a few dates, and I will be over the next 6 months, yes, in coordination with the release of the album.
What would you say was your biggest success, both musically and personally?
Material success, Dreamweaver and Love is Alive, that album was my most successful record. It was a multi-platinum record. Personally, as far as what I like as things that I've done, there's bits and pieces of from a lot of albums that I think were really, really strong. I like my new album. It's probably one of the best things I've ever done. Human Love. Being an artist is a frustrating kind of situation because there's never the definitive, absolute, end-all success. You're always evolving. You get frustrated with different things. John Lennon said he never was satisfied with any of the stuff. He'd always want to go back and redo it again. So, at one stage you just have to say, okay, I'm going to walk away from it. It's finished. There was a lot of things that I've liked, but right now where I stand, I think I like my new album probably the best.
Yeah, I guess the question kind of revolves as how do you measure success? So
success to me is the degree at which you're content and happy. That's what I call success. To me, is if I'm content and happy with my life, then I'm a successful person. There's nothing to do with how much money you have or material success or anything like that. It's really being happy at will.
So what kind of advice would you pass on to an artist just starting out in this business called music?
You have to have an incredible passion. You have to be totally confident with your music. If you have to go out and ask other people, what do you think of my music? You don't have that passion or you don't have that confidence because people like that are insecure and they don't know if their art is good. And you really can't go out and pursue a career with that kind of an attitude. You have to go out with the attitude is my music is the greatest thing that's ever happened. You have to be able to sell yourself, especially nowadays. I've seen so many great, talented artists that nobody ever heard of because they had no idea of how to market themselves. So part of being a successful artist is having the ability to be able to go out and in a way sell yourself. It's very important. You really have to have both things happening in your life because otherwise you just won't make it. You really need a combination of the talent and the ability to market that talent. Very important.
Confidence, huh?
Yes, and you also have to have endurance. You can't give up after a few failures. You have to be able to pick up, and eventually, when all the timing is right, you'll eventually have success.
Now, Gary, thanks for your time and advice. Welcome to Artistforum.com. What would be the URL here?
URL of my website is thedreamweaver.com, all one word, thedreamweaver.com. And there's a descriptive history of my career there. There's all my records there, my CDs, I'm sorry. They're available in the Dreamweaver store. Photographs, all memorabilia, that kind of stuff. So if anybody wants to get any of that stuff, they can just go to the website and check it out.
Super. Thank you, sir.
It's really just available there, and if anybody wants autographed copies, it's only available there. It's also at CD Now and Amazon.com, but it's probably a better place to buy it is at my site. You can get the autographed copy and a lot of other things.